My friend, what's up? Jesse Listens Fields here. Healthy, loving relationship. We're getting right into it. What are those two things that you can do to avoid losing yourself in your relationship with your man? And if you've already felt that you've lost yourself, what can you do to make sure you get yourself back? That's what we're talking about today. But before we do, hit subscribe. Come on now. You already know the routine. If you haven't done so already, hit subscribe. Comment below, right? And you definitely want to hit that notification bell so you can be alerted all the videos that are coming with healthy, loving relationship. So, how do you do it? This is not easy, right? But how do you avoid losing yourself in your relationship with your man? Now, let's start with most women, and we're putting it out there. Let's be wholehearted and honest. Many women have a lot of stuff on their plate, and they have a lot of roles, right? Most women, right? They're not only in the home attending to family, but they're out there in the world, right? Taking charge, hitting their goals, and doing incredible things, right? But when I speak to most women and I ask them, who are you? All right. Most women are very quick to point out the roles that they play that are attached to things other than themselves, right? Most women will say, well, this is my career. I'm a career woman, right? This is what I do, right? They say, I'm a mom, right? They will say, I have this position in this church. This is me, right? Well, I would like to speculate and say those roles are an extension of who you are, right? And oftentimes, as a habit, we human beings, we oftentimes focus on what we do as opposed to truly who we are. And when we lead with that in our lives, and especially in our relationships, we find ourselves almost getting lost, right? Because it's more about who we are as an individual. And I'm going to explain this. I'll give you an example, right? I have a very, very dear family member. She does so much for others, right? She's a very special woman, dear to my heart. And I can recall distinctively asking her, when is the last time you brought something for yourself? She had a hard time just even remembering that. So I asked you, when is the last time you brought something for yourself? When is the last time you did something for yourself? Because that's a fair indication that perhaps you might be losing yourself in the process of dealing with your relationship, right? So the first thing I would say to you, one step that you can do to avoid losing yourself is, what is those actions? What are those habits that you are doing, those activities, those hobbies that anchors in with who you are? For example, this book right here, pretty cool book, Atomic Habits. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend you read this book. It's by James Clear, and incredible book. But one thing that stuck out to me with this book, he spoke about the importance of your habits. And essentially, James Clear says that your habits is a vote for who you are, right? So every habit that you do speaks to the very person who you wish to be, right? So the first thing I want to ask you, what is the habit? What is the action that speaks to who you are and who you want to be? Because like most people, most women struggle with doing those very things that speak to who they are and who they want to be. So let's take this moment and ask yourself, what are those things that you've loved doing that somehow have been put on the back burner because you are so focused on doing those other roles for other people? I mean, just stop and think about it. I'm going to give you permission to stop to think about it, because chances are you haven't had much time to actually stop and focus on yourself. So just think about it. Right? Maybe you haven't wrote in your journal for a long time, right? Or maybe you have not worked out in months, right? And you always have been given an excuse to say, well, I'll get to that when I can, right? Listen up. The greatest moment in history is now. What you do today will help to determine your destiny. So we're going to start doing this stuff now. The stuff we've been putting on the back burner, we're going to start doing that stuff now. So whatever it is that lights your heart on fire, that you would do if it was for free, start doing that stuff today, right? So if it's writing in your journal, you ain't got to spend an hour in your day. Start 5 minutes, right? If it's going to the gym or working out, start by putting on your running shoes and walking out the door around the block. Start somewhere, right? So that's the first thing. First step you can do to avoid losing yourself in your relationship, right? Also, another great book, if you never got it, never read it, I suggest you read it. Receiving Love is an Inside Job, available now on Amazon, written by yourself, yours truly. Hint, hint, right? Check it out. But there is one thing I wrote in my book, and I think it will be really helpful for you. And it's essentially this. Be so caught up in the process that your goal will tap you on the shoulder out of sheer jealousy. I'm going to say that again. Find that thing that you know you love, that lights your heart on fire. Break it down into small habits or small steps and focus on that. Be so in love with the process of what you're doing. Be so in love with the writing, right? Be so in love with the exercise, that your goal, whatever you're trying to achieve, is going to tap you on the shoulder out of sheer jealousy. See, we want what we wanted yesterday, but we're not going to get there if we're so fixated on the goal, right? How do we get there is by breaking it down into small baby steps and focusing on the habit in the day to day. So I want to ask you that, right? What is that thing that you can just focus on for the sake of doing it and not so much for achieving that goal, right? Do that, right? Focus on that. Don't focus on the world, right? Don't focus on your man. Don't focus on your kids. Don't focus on your career. Focus on that thing that lights yourself on fire. And you do that, right? There's a saying, how do you move a mountain, right? How do you move a mountain? Well, you move a mountain by breaking it down and moving small stones. And eventually you turn around, you're so focused on moving those stones, you realize, wow, I did that. I did that thing. So, those are the two things that you can do to avoid losing yourself in your relationship with your man. I'm hoping what I'm saying is speaking to you, right? You can so do this. You can so pull this off. Yes, you can have a healthy, loving relationship with your man, with your husband. But ultimately, the most important relationship is the relationship that you have with yourself. So, that's all I got for you. If you enjoyed what I was sharing with you, if you want more, you got to hop on to healthylovingrelationship.com, because it's there. I will show you how to stop being taken for granted and actually receive the love and appreciation you desire from your man. Well, until next time, this is Jesse Listens Fields. Peace.